Good afternoon, it's Michael here from Michael Seafoods. This afternoon I'm going to show you how we commercially shuck oysters, both Sydney Rock and Pacific oysters. We're a commercial operation. We shuck around 1,000 dozen oysters every day, and we service the beautiful Northern Rivers and Southeast Queensland markets. We serve everybody from seafood retail all the way through to top-end restaurants, and here we go. I hope you enjoy it. Here we want to show you how we process oysters on a commercial scale, and also show you how the restaurants do it, or many restaurants, and also show you how you may be able to do it at home. Now, the equipment we use a nice fine glove because we want to be able to feel the oyster. We make our own handmade knives, and this is out of a stainless steel bit of pipe, very sharp point and surgical steel. It's very, very hard steel. The knives don't bend or break. They take quite a long time for each one of these to make. Every shucker has their own preference, exactly how they want their knives. I find this one to be a very, very nice knife. We process generally two species of oysters in Australia, a Sydney Rock oyster as well as a Pacific oyster. The Sydney Rock, they are from Port Stephens. We process Sydney Rock oysters from all out New South Wales, and their growth is from Moreton Bay in the north down to about Eden or a little bit below Eden Lake's entrance in the south. They are considered by many to be one of the best eating oysters in the world, and there's many, many people in Australia that definitely agree with that. So I'll just go through how we would commercially do it. We use potable water. We're opening onto trays, but sometimes we also open onto boxes, and we need to open in potable water so as to rinse any shell off that we introduce into the oyster. Also, we need to process at a considerable rate. So we turn our water on. We're using an aluminium block to hold the oyster. We just tap in. We take the oyster out of the shell on its lid and sever it. The sharp knife is important in this, and we're tapping in right on the leading edge of the oyster. There's the hinge edge. We are allowing the knife to flow in and sever the adductor muscle on the bottom of the shell. When we peel it, it's simply good. There's that small amount of shell we like to rinse off. We rinse that off, and then we sever the adductor muscle on the lid and place it in. Good processors can process at a rate of around 40 dozen oysters per hour, well in excess of 250 dozen oysters per day. Through the Christmas peaks, these guys are called upon to work very, very, very hard to produce all the oysters that people enjoy at Christmas time. So if you're going to open an oyster at home, here we have a store-bought knife. Nothing's been changed. Most people will open from the hinge or the back end of the oyster there. So we just carefully place the knife into the hinge there, and you'll find that there's a little divot or a little sweet spot or hole that the oyster likes. Many people use a tea towel to help hold the oyster in place. It provides a much safer base, less chance for slipping. So you lay a tea towel down, place your oyster and fold the tea towel over. Then place the oyster knife into that hinge area there and slowly twist until we get that hinge opened. Once we do that, we can take the tea towel away. The important thing for a beginner oyster opener when you are opening from the back is, rather than a levering motion here, once we're in to the oyster here, we're not levering straight up and down, we're twisting from a sideways motion. It is much easier. Technique is more important in this than brute force. Producers. Dead set. Oh, you got that on film, didn't you?
I did.